Six Nations match from yesteryear.
Welsh fans, this was the moment they realised something might be afoot. Well, it certainly gets the goosebumps.
Nick, how are you doing, mate?
Very good evening, Jamie Roberts and George Hall.
Yeah, good, thank you. That national anthem is unbelievable. Like, do you know what? Like, you know, George has played in the stadium many times as well. And there are some games throughout your career you look back and you go, right, the anthem was a little bit special. And this was definitely one of them. One of only probably a handful of games where the anthem went another level. And, you know, this was definitely one of them, probably the most amazing national anthem I've been a part of as a player.
Yeah, sure. We'll come to you in a moment, George. Let's just look at this team then. Plenty of familiar names, of course, from 2013. And, well, there was Sam Warburton in the side. He wasn't captain, of course. Gethin Jenkins was looking after that honour. And Mike Phillips becoming Wales' most capped scrum half with 77 caps. As far as England are concerned, well, look, a few fresher looking faces. Joe Marler in there earning just his 10th cap, starting while Mako Vunapola's on the bench. Lots of Ben Youngs in the side. Danny Care had started against Italy, but Ben Youngs came back in. Owen Farrell had been out with a thigh injury, and he was in as well. Manu Tuilagi, who had scored England's one try in their last 3 games. And there are the benches as well. In terms of the form, just to remind you as to where we were, of course, 2013, building into a Lions Summer Tour, but only really 17 months off the back of a 2011 World Cup. Wales in this Six Nations, as we look at Steve Walsh, who was probably looking at himself on the big screen, there we go. Wales had lost to Ireland by 22 points to 30, then beaten France, which was Jamie's 50th cap, beaten Ireland away, beaten Scotland, and they had 5 consecutive away wins. England had beat Scotland, retaining the Calcutta Cup, then beaten Ireland away in the lowest ever score of Six Nations match, 6 points to 12. France at 23-13, and then Italy, a closest ever margin there, 18 points to 11. So those are the form guides going into this one, and well, Wales with possession straight from the kick-off. And George, your memories of getting ready for this one?
Memories, you know. I think any time Wales play England is a a huge occasion. To have it all squared up on this last game. Obviously, England came to win. Everything was still in the fight. The week's prep was great, and I think this sort of first 10 minutes really set the tone to how the game was going to go from the off.
Well, it's great to have all of you with us wherever you're tuning in for a reliving of this classic match as Lee Halfpenny just manages to miscontrol that ball as it came through. Basically over the course of this evening we are going to enjoy watching this match. We've edited it down slightly, but we'll be with you for the next hour and a half as we go through this match and we hear from Jamie and from George. We also will be talking a little bit about, of course, the good cause that this is all for, and we're delighted to be doing this for a good charitable reason for the Aneurin Bevan Health Charities COVID-19 fund, but more on that a little later. And we'll hear from the two gents as well as Owen Farrell puts that ball up over onto the far side. Dan Biggar coming into the side, of course, still a big part of the Welsh effort in recent months as well. Of course, it wasn't the best start to the Six Nations campaign from Wales, was because I think there'd been that loss to start to Ireland, and Jamie, I think just before we came on air, you were telling me about the Welsh record following that Grand Slam in 2012.
Wales went to Australia and lost all 3 tests, and lost all 4 autumn international tests, and lost the opening game against Ireland. So actually, after we won the Grand Slam, we went on an 8-game losing streak. Unfortunately, I didn't tour in Australia. I did my ACL the week after that Grand Slam in 2012, and I know George, we had a chat about it before. But those 3 tests were lost by like a combination of 7, 8 or 9 points, I think, between the 3 tests. They were all very close. And then we came and we lost at home in Cardiff, 4 games on the bounce. And it was very tough. We lost at home then to Ireland in the opening game of this championship, and it was pretty bleak. It was a very bleak time because we'd come off the back of winning the Grand Slam, and the core of this group then went on to lose. We didn't win a game for probably 8 months, 9 months, and then we turned things around in Paris. And this was, this game then was I guess the combination of a lot of hard work and resilience from the lads.
Yeah, exactly. I remember Australia was a savage draw. That one. I think over the 3 games it was so close throughout it, and then as Jamie said, that run of games as a player it's tough, but I think as a whole squad there we were feeling the pressure, and I think as Jamie said, this the France game and then this game really sort of set us back on track then.
George, just coming back to your point you made on the week leading up to this game. I remember this week, the training session on the Thursday of this week being one of the worst we've ever had. Well, I certainly was involved in. We were awful in training, and I just remember sharing a beer, obviously after the game with a few of the lads, and just went, we did not see kind of this coming because we trained very poorly on that Thursday.
Well, I remember that well, James. But yeah. if you had a bad day, that's fine. But I think. Sometimes, like any team, you have to get these bad sessions out of the way. But I don't remember it being bad, James. But obviously, maybe it was a bad day. I don't know.
Jamie doing what he does better, just coming up. Next phase of Mike Phillips, and I think you're targeting Owen Farrell here, Jimmy.
Oh God, yeah, carry. It was desperately physical. You play in some test matches and you can't catch your breath. It's just brutally physical. This game, just no team wanted to give an inch. You've seen that from the collisions early doors. Big collisions going in. You just know you can't give that half a metre of momentum to the opposition because that might, open up an opportunity. So, defences were certainly on top.
And we may see over the course of this first sort of 10-15 minutes or so where England start to concede penalties. And I know at this point in the original commentary, Brian Moore is telling Eddie Jones that, Eddie Butler, that he can barely hear himself. Such is the atmosphere at the Principality Stadium at the time. Must have been a relief to Brian not to be able to hear himself, I imagine. But fans in good voice. Look at it.
You think already it's only been what 6 minutes, and the collisions have been huge. You know, so and I think I said earlier, you know, this first 10 minutes was really setting the tone for the game, and I think certainly coming off after this game, it was enjoyment, but you felt every single second and every single hit, you know, and yeah, it was
and of course here
physical test match.
The wily Adam Jones, before he became a clubmate of Jamala at Harlequins, of course, who is packing down against Joe, who was just his 10th cap. I was fortunate enough to exchange a couple of messages with Chris Robshaw earlier today ahead of this, and he said ultimately for a lot of these guys it was actually their first trip to the Principality in this kind of environment, their first time with the roof shuttle, that kind of thing. And well, you might see here Adam Jones getting the better of Marla, and it's a decision against him as far as Steve Walsh is concerned. Wales Brains Trust watching on.
There's a lot of tension. I think the one thing you haven't mentioned, Nick, is England. This is a Grand Slam game for England, and that was a huge factor for the kind of Welsh psyche. I mean, you know, I wouldn't be able to walk the streets of Cardiff for a few years if we lose to England at home and they parade the trophy around the stadium. You know, I experienced that in 2009 when Ireland won the Grand Slam in Cardiff, and it's one of the worst feelings you can experience as a pro sport.
Yeah, Wales needed to win by 8 points in this game, didn't they? And England thought, well, we go for victory, and as long as we deny them any form of victory by 8 points, then we should be right. But I also got a message from Toby Flood, who said that they got the preparation all wrong for this. They went down there basically doing the maths and feeling that they had worked out what they needed, and they were sort of targeting that, obviously, rather than going and perhaps just playing a game plan to win a game. So as things will transpire, things get quite interesting, and perhaps the maths doesn't end up playing too much of a part in it.
Well, I think it's these last few years where it's come down to Super Saturday, isn't it? And I think this is probably the first year whereby it was like all about numbers. You have to score X amount of points or these amount of tries, and you know, since then this Super Saturday's become, you know, known as one of the best weekends of rugby from that point of view. That it comes down to the last weekend of one last game to get those points, and I think England may be in that mindset, as you said, Nick.
On this very day, on this Super Saturday, Ireland had lost out to Italy, so rugby fans were already in the mood for a little bit of sporting contest, as we see Dr. Jamie Roberts putting a few spines back in place, taking the ball up strongly. Then Jonathan Davis on the outside, of course. Old Fox Davis and Roberts combination, 14th time that you were paired for this one, which was breaking the record of Ray Gravel and Stevie Fennick. Only you were earning your 53rd cap in this one. You would earn your 50th against the French. And we mentioned, of course, Jamie, that there is a charitable element to this. I understand that you are back and using your medical qualifications to lend a hand in these unprecedented times. Do we have Jamie there? Sure.
Shall I fill for him? Yeah, Jamie's doing his bit because obviously he's a doctor. I don't know if he hasn't told you already. He'll probably tell you about 6 times before this ends. But he's come back and helped out, you know, a lot of the frontline workers who are doing a great job at the moment. You know, and as you mentioned earlier in this, it's not a film, is it? But this production, or whatever you call it, is it's all going to a stream. In this stream, you know, all this money raised is going to the frontline workers. So, you know, I'm sure Jamie, when he's back online, will probably say some nice things about himself.
Okay.
Oh, he's back.
Sorry, guys. Someone called me.
That's all right. Well, we can just see Lee Halfpenny lining up to have a first shot after Joe Muller was penalised for not rolling away. Joe Muller not having the most entertaining first 10-11 minutes or so. Lee Halfpenny, straight and true, no problem at all.
Boy.
As we mentioned, if you are enjoying this match, if you're with us for the evening, then if you're in a position to do so, please do consider donating to the Newran Bevan Health Charities COVID-19 Fund. The links are alongside the stream on the various platforms, and it's it's a contribution that will go directly to a COVID-19 hotspot in Wales. So we really love your support for that. And well, Jamie, we were just mentioning in your absence, just while we lost you temporarily, about the fact that you're back on the front line.
Well, not exactly. Look, I've volunteered to help in the NHS. Frontline workers are working hard on the wards, so I won't be doing too much clinical work. But just helping the staff at the HQ, just kind of in North Cardiff, and I guess offering my support wherever I can. Really. Well, I guess the first thing I've noticed the last 3 days is just the kind of everyone playing their part in the team, and it's kind of, I guess you watch a rugby game and you see how we operate as a team. Everyone needs to play their part to contribute to the win, none more so than this game. But the problem facing the public at the minute, everyone has a role to play, and the people working in the NHS are doing an unbelievable job. Kind of the work ethic of all the different groups of people and teams is a sight to behold.
Yeah, it is absolutely magnificent. Just see Jonathan Davis crashing it up in the middle once more. On to Talope Faletau. He'll still be calling himself Toby at this stage. As Chris Robshaw had mentioned to me, England still thought they were very much in this game. Coming to do what they could. With Alex Good at full-back, of course. Chris Ashton on the wing for England as well. Joint top try scorer at Rugby World Cup 2011, 17 months before. Certainly a mean finisher in England's army at the time. George, have you enjoyed your battles with a man like Chris Ashton?
Yeah, Chris is a quality player, for many years, still is now. Had very fortunate to play against him on a handful of occasions, and it's been a great battle every time, And I think, I guess in this fixture and any fixture at this level now, all the players are world class, and every game you have to be on your mettle, and this is one where it's all on the line. I think obviously only just under a quarter of an hour in, and there's not much in it really. It shows you the intensity that we play at now, and this is 2013, so it's going to step up up again from there now. On his 2-2 line.
I'll just take 3 players out, it's fine.
Fox does the same and gets melted.
Filsey, got to get lower, Mike. Got to get lower. That's a yellow card nowadays.
Mike Phillips' famous quote: "Look good, feel good, play good." And that stood him in good stead for many years.
A little bit of footwork from Brad Barrett as well.
Doc, who could turn quicker, you or Brad Barrett?
It's a daft question, mate.
The Halfpenny doing his best to present that, Tom. Joe Launchbury coming in. Joe Launchbury, who was just on his 9th cap for England.
It was back in the day. Yeah, you saw from the ruck there. This was back in the day we could kick the ball in the ruck, couldn't you? you could kick the ball out.
Yeah.
So if you could get your foot in there, you could kick it.
Bloody Doc, are you running ahead of everyone there? That's a
Look at the effort. Look at my lungs are screaming now. Absolutely knackered. God, you didn't need to take... lots of sports people, and certainly the rugby lads, take kind of caffeine supplements before games, but just didn't need anything for this game. Like the adrenaline, like... You know, George spoke about feeling every part of this game. I felt the opposite. I guess I was picking up injuries probably 2 or 3 days later. The adrenaline just numbed everything, you know? It was one of those kind of massive fixtures.
Huge occasion.
Number 2, White.
I think Mikey Phillips won us that penalty.
Sorry if I haven't did it.
Who's
So
kicking
he
this
is.
now, Harford? Jamie, does he get it? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think he does. Jesus, the lad didn't miss this year. Obviously, then went on the... I don't think he missed on the Lions tour that year. That summer. Unbelievably deadly. I mean, that's one thing, you know, when he got someone like that in the team, you know, England didn't do it very well in this game. They conceded quite a few penalties. But you knew if you conceded a penalty in your own half, it was 3 points. Like from anywhere in your own half. So, you know, teams began competing less at the breakdown, not wanting to take risks, and all of a sudden that gives you the ability to get quick ball, get on the front foot a bit easier.
Easy, man.
Have we still got Nick? Have we lost him? Oh no, there you are. You are back. I thought it went a bit quiet for a while. I was waiting for George to start commentating.
Ah, I was going to try to do my best Nick impression. Go on, George. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those games that, you know, they say that second win will always come, but I'm pretty sure my body was lying to me this day because my second win took a lot longer to come. And yeah, as Hib said, it definitely felt longer than what was on the clock, you know.
He did love checking himself out on the screen, didn't he? This referee, Steve Walsh. Every time he gives a penalty, I just noticed he looks up at the screen, check himself out.
Oh, nice, James.
Well, it's not me, Warby, mate. Warby, lucky not to get injured here. I mean, we kind of see people going into jackal with that wide stance, and if you get your studs caught on the deck there, you can be in serious trouble.
I think we might have lost Nick, Jamie. So do you want to? Shall I do the 6-3 to Wales? 20 minutes to go.
Good start, mate.
Farrell has just put it through the 20 minutes to go, or gone, either or. Accurately bouncing a trick shot in an intense test match here at Twickenham.
Oh, that's two mistakes, George, mate. Shall I take over? Actually, no, keep going. It's funny.
I'm trying to fill for
it. It's entertaining.
It's our first ever commentating, guys. So I'm just. I haven't got my. It's a game of two halves yet, but there it is.
I think it's Twickenham, mate.
Yeah. It must be the light in here. Yeah. It's played on a Tuesday as well, wasn't it?
Now, that's one thing, you kind of watch these games back, how good Dan Biggar is at controlling the middle third of the pitch. You know, the amount of times, you know, his decisions when to run, when to kick, are almost always spot on. And he's done that from an early age in his career, and he's still doing it now whenever he plays club or test rugby. Certainly in a game as tight as this, you know, you're not going to take any risks running around your own 10, around halfway, against a brick wall, and his decision making around that was always very good, and still is very good. You know, even if you turn the ball over here, it's not a massive problem. However, if you kind of run it and then get turned over on your own 10, you're conceding points.
I was going to try and say something about scrum laws, but I don't really know much about scrums, so.
Just waiting to see the classic celebration where all the backs run in and congratulate the forwards, mate.
The old bum taps on them, boys. Good push.
Nice.
Yeah. James, I think it's just me and you, bud. I think you should take a bit now because I've had two clangers.
Yeah. Well. What cap number was this for you, George? Can you remember? So your debut was when? 2010, am I right? November 2010.
Yeah.
So
this would have been, well, it was after World Cup year as well, so it was, I think I might have been on 20 maybe?
Maybe 30. Yeah, you would have played quite a lot in that World Cup year. In 2011 you played most of the games.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. There's quite a lot of places still playing now from this team, I guess. You know, the front row not. Alan Wynne is obviously still going. Longest serving Welsh player ever. Back row, obviously Walby's finished. Talupe is still playing. Tips is still playing. Obviously Mike has finished. Biggs is still going. Foxy's still involved. Yourself, Half is. Obviously Cuffy's down at Exeter. So there's still a lot of.
Jamie, I bet you a toilet roll he gets this.
Yeah, he doesn't miss this thing.
I'll take that toilet roll later. Cheers, boy.
Does not miss.
Yeah, there's a lot of bulk of this. This was the very start, isn't it? From that 2011 World Cup, where this bulk of the squad stayed there within the squad for a long time, and that's what gave us that consistency for a long time.
Well, especially going towards that World Cup in 2015, and then everyone got injured then. Just when it mattered.
A minute of World Cup rugby. Yeah. I think Nick doesn't want to be involved with us anymore, James. It's just me and you, but
anyone out there watching, we apologise. We're not commentators, so we'll.
Hang on, I've been doing my bit. 9-3, 24 minutes gone.
Where's the game?
Momentum very much with Wales. It's the Millennium Stadium as it was known then, but the Principality as it's known now. Contact area is a bit of a fight there, as you can see. Good line speed off the edge. Sean Edwards would be happy with that. He's currently moved to the French national team as defence coach. Was with Wales for a very long time. Jamie, what's your thoughts?
It's good line speed from the lads.
Oh,
I slipped there. I think I was wearing Moldies as well. Yeah, mistake.
No, come on, Jim.
Ian Evans is a class player. This was one of his best years. He obviously went on the Lions tour in the summer, but kind of proper workhorse around the pitch. Real physical guy. Held players up in defence. And he obviously got picked for the Lions that summer. That's me getting pinged, is it?
Yeah,
I think
away.
Gethin. You always knew when you made a mistake defensively. You'd have Gethin Jenkins staring you down after making a mistake like that. Not rolling away. That's what I was like. Yeah, not ideal slow-mo for me. That. And obviously, you give away a penalty.
Can we
you give away a penalty, and you'd have Gethin Jenkins staring you down, cursing you.
Although, if you did have Gethin Jones looking at you, that would mean more, because obviously, I don't know how he would have coped with this intensity of international fixture. True that. Jamie, I'll bet you another toilet roll that he misses this.
Do you miss it? Do you know the score sequence? Do you miss it? Yeah.
No. Silence for the kicker, please. Jamie, do you know how I know he doesn't get this? He's just only 30 points to 3.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, nice.
But I'll take that the second toilet roll, thanks.
How do you want it delivered?
I'll just get it. I can IOU, but I'll get it off you later. Are we a short turn to the commentating thing, James?
I'll feed in, mate. I think your commentator was extraordinary.
Okay.
I think Alex Good was a really good player. Still is a really, really good player. Obviously, hasn't played for England in a long time now, but he's shown certainly over the last 5 years an unbelievable player. He's been for his club. I guess kind of over it as a fantastic kick. I believe. His ability, his footwork, his kicking game. He's a top rugby player. Probably should have won more caps than he did, I think.
I agree with you there. Like his consistency as well over the last, the last 5-6 years has been incredible. What he's been doing with Saracens. But I think I agree with you. I think he should have a lot more international caps than he did.
So this turnover, who is it? Tips. This, George, again, is back at the time when he didn't have to come through the gate. We've seen a few things in this game already. The law changes. One is kicking at the ruck. You watch this now. Watch where Tips comes from. Tackle and just stands straight back up and takes the ball.
Yeah.
So again, the game has changed so much. No way you get away with that now. There's probably a yellow card for being cynical.
But do you know what? Steve Voss with his Lego man hair there, he's sorted us out of favour there. So, no, he hasn't. Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Do you remember what was called here, James? I reckon short ball to you.
Maybe, probably.
All right, penalty.
Where is the look to the screen?
Don't smile, Steve.
I find watching scrums, I find the lottery. I've not got the slightest idea what's going on.
I can't back you up there. I ain't got a Scooby-Doo.
Interesting to see Boise in the comms. Well, Mark Jones spent, I think, that campaign with us. Obviously now he's defence coach now down with the Crusaders in New Zealand. He was a funny bloke. Jeez, funny. Did he play with Boise, George?
No, unfortunately Boise had his knee injury right as I was coming through the age grade stuff with Scarlet. What was that? That was straight off of the shin, Jamie.
Oh no, straight out. I was in my 22. I didn't remember that kick.
Yeah, well, I don't.
What an error.
Well, I would try and black that one out as well. I've just had a message from Baz, and he sent me a question from Twitter, James. Should we do a question off of Twitter? That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? Since Nick has gone to have his dinner. Rod Jenkins on Twitter has asked, before a big game like England in 2013, do you think about where your rugby career started and what inspired you to play in the first place? Does that cross your mind, Jim?
I think, yeah, not massively. Obviously, when you go into play big games, you think back to your roots and you think, God, what a journey I've been on, and you kind of reflect on that journey and you come to appreciate that these occasions don't come on often in your career. So in a way, I started that answer with a no, but in a way, yes. You kind of you grow up and you appreciate these games when they're happening. And after you share a beer with the lads and you reflect and you go, do you know what? That was a massive privilege to play in. And even watching it now, you think back and a massive honour to play in a game of this magnitude.
Yeah, that's good line speed in the defence there from Wales. England pounding at Wales' 22. I've got this already, Jim. I've nailed this.
You've got to roll when you finish.
Oh, I think this is when the ankle taps me now. Look, and I fall like a pancake.
I thought you were away.
I know. So did I. I couldn't even think there. Am I gonna get up and run or try and offload? Here we go. We got another question. This might be a little bit left flank. Jamie,
left flank or left field?
Well, because we're playing rugby, so we're left flank off the left field. Ben Reynolds on Facebook has asked about the 2013 Lions. Which one of the English players surprised you the most on tour, both as a player and as a personality? Biggs with a turnover there. Lovely. Deep within our 22. Go on, Jim.
Were there any England players on that tour? Who was on? I'm joking. What England players were on the tour?
That year,
Jeff Parling.
I got on really well with
Jeff Parling.
Jeff Parling was great quality. The Youngs brothers were in
good
great
lads.
Form. Crofty was in great form as well. And I personally, Faz. These guys were, we only get to play against them as such, so you don't really get to spend much time together. But they came across to me. I really enjoyed their company, and it was a great tour. Go on, Tobes.
Yeah, good lads. And then a few other lads came in, didn't they? I think Billy 12 Trees and both him and Brad Barrett came in towards the tail end of the tour.
Yeah, and Christian Wade as well.
All flew in, and they recruited Shane Williams from Japan as well.
That is right, yeah. For what game was that?
It was the Brumbies, and I think we lost.
Brumbies.
Pretty sure we lost that game.
Yeah, we did. We did.
I remember. Before the first test, wasn't it? Or the second test.
Yeah.
Kind of midweek game.
So we're late in the first half now. Pressure coming from England's line-out. Manu with a big carry. Jamie even with a bigger hitter.
Yeah.
That's great English.
I'll probably get a red card for that tackle now. Lifted his legs up.
Probably. I think this is really showing the physicality of this game, isn't it? Both sides not giving an inch here. With 7 minutes to go. I think I could dabble this commentating thing.
Great work for Cuffy.
Go on, Pence. Run. It's great recovery from our defence there as well. It's an unbelievable kick from
Good work rate from Tips. Closes the angle on the kick. Look at that. Like that win just because of work rate. Doesn't take any skill, just the effort in the chase. And he's still doing that to this day. Unbelievable player.
They say, isn't it, James, the kick is only as good as its chase. And that was impeccable from Tips in his notorious blue headguard. Yeah, it's a lovely kick as well. It's coming straight up, hard at the line, and then put it last minute on the toe. It's great line speed. Is it just me now, Jamie?
Yeah, no, I'm still here. Sorry, mate, I'm listening to you. Brilliant. Brilliant commentary.
Sorry, I was just trying to fill. We've got, I don't know if it's his actual name, but a question from Geraint Passmore, which I think is funny because it's a question about scrum halves. So Passmore has asked, Jamie, who's the best 9 you've played with? I'm guessing that might be a loaded question. Is Geraint
Yeah,
Passmore
it's
a
probably
nine?
Geraint Passmore, actually. I played with him, at
there you
Club
go.
Rugby where we started. Crick, when we were 6, 7 years old. I think Gez was a year older than me in school. So, yeah, easily Geraint. I think Mike Phillips is about 4th best scrum half I played with.
At least he made top 5. He'd be happy with that. Well, it should have just been me and you, James, because I don't think Nick wants to be here, really, does he?
I think he's busy commentating on dogs running off field and stuff. It's actually very funny. I think his work is brilliant.
Available.
Very, very funny. If you haven't seen it, check out Nick Heath's stuff on social. It's fantastic.
Two over the ball left. That's great line speed.
Yes.
Good D.
Yes, gorgeous
Good D.
George.
Off an edge. Oh, knock on, sir? No.
Great shot.
Let it go.
Great
let
shot,
go,
Mike.
Let go here, let it go. Turn over, Jamie. Go on, boy.
I've rarely got in those positions. See how tense the game is, can't you? Jeez, I'm tense watching it. Like it's kind of just all on edge. Really niggly game.
Shows you how on edge the game is as well. Like just like little handling errors, like these little errors, little mistakes that you wouldn't normally get or expect at this level.
Yeah, exactly.
The pressure's turning, and with 3 minutes left, say it's getting intense. Oh, I've had another question from Baz. Baz is actually Sebastian, in case you want to know. Laura Evans on Instagram asks, George, how have you found life on lockdown? As a rugby player, you must be used to travelling a lot. It's a good question, Laura Evans from Instagram. Yeah, no, it's strange in lockdown. It's not just it's strange on lockdown. Obviously, it's a really strange situation that we find ourselves in. But at the moment, there's not much we can do. You just got to try and follow the guidelines.
Yeah, good kick, George.
Yeah, I'll keep talking. You've got to follow the guidelines and keep training when you can. Limited stuff in the house, but you stay in shape. Jamie, how are you finding life in lockdown at the moment?
Yeah, challenging. I guess in the UK, look at this one, George. Let's just watch this first.
Can we fast forward this bit?
They're so funny. I think they're brilliant.
Can we? I fast forward that one. Michael, you're listening. Fast forward that one, please. Oh,
I don't know if you need me back now. You seem to be doing an expert job with just the two of you. Yeah, hi, Nick Heath, commentator.
Who's this, please?
Slight connection issues. I think everyone in London is on their Wi-Fi. Such is the nature of these quarantine times that we have a few little technical gremlins to get past. You two have been holding the fort beautifully. I mean, I might go and have my tea. Yeah, exactly.
What did you have for dinner?
Just going to turn my light on because it's getting dark in here.
So, we've joined the game. Nick is back.
Sorry, George. George, you asked me what it's like in lockdown. So in the UK, we're actually allowed out to exercise once a day, which in some ways is a bit of a privilege. Like the lads in South Africa, it's a complete lockdown there. So you're not allowed to go out to exercise or even walk your dog. You're only allowed out your property to shop or get medicines, and that's it. So the rugby lads out there, being very innovative in how they're training. It's not like they can go out in the street and run over the park and run. They have to run inside their properties, which is challenging.
We've got a question which I'll try and get in before half time as Nick goes through the surf. Is a question from Gethin Jones, who was in the scrum earlier. Do you know at this point, Jamie, at this point in the game, whether you're going to win or not? What did you feel at this point? Do you reckon we were going to win or not?
I think as a back, sometimes you look at the kind of energy that your forwards are still given in the game and the set piece, and I thought, we're 9-3 up. They haven't really threatened us. Our line speed's good. We're winning collisions. I did. That's a straight answer. And just the work rate from our pack, both at set piece, the ability to get round the corner, get off the line, carry hard, clean rucks, was a level above England in the first half. And so, yeah, definitely going in half time, we were pretty confident, but not massively confident on the scoreboard. England one try, they're back ahead. One converted try, they're back ahead. So, but I did have a good feeling, yeah.
Yeah, I'd echo that. I just felt, even though it was a physical game, and a penalty for something in the scrum, I'm not too sure, but yeah, it just didn't feel like the momentum very much in the first half was with us, and as the clock goes red.
Well, certainly England are feeling that they're not entirely out of it, are they? But I think certainly there's a little bit of writing on the wall from the domination that the Welsh are having at scrum time and a few penalties they've got. And I think potentially there was one where England, I think Chris Robshaw managed to accidentally pin Tom Youngs in at the ruck, which gave Wales one of theirs. So England not helping themselves. Bigger going for a drop goal effort just before half-time, which sails wide. Chance to add another 3 points. England perhaps might have rued an opportunity where they kicked into the corner and could have taken another 3 to perhaps stay in touch a little bit more. But yes, half-time, just time, just back in time, obviously, to hand to half-time. I think we've got sort of 2-3 minutes here. So as you go in, what ultimately are you aiming to do in a half-time, which will probably at that stage have been about 15 minutes? Chance to actually get some proper tactical information? Are you someone that's rushing to the physio for a quick rub down? How do each of your roles or each of the things you want to do in a half-time play out?
I think it's fun.
Jamie would probably go for physio.
Oh, well done. Jeez, sweet coming from you, boy. Get your lungs, first of all. Jeez, I mean, you go and sit down. Usually the first 5 minutes at half-time, so the first few minutes, no one speaks. No one says a word. Everyone gets their breath. You get your heart rate back down. And you refocus. And then the messages come out. And it's all about being concise. It's all about having clear 3-4 points. Our defensive leaders would speak, or our defensive coach would have 2 or 3 things that we need to keep doing or change. And their attacking game. 2 or 3 points again. And there'd be, as I said, 4 or 5 things tops. And it would be really clear. But yeah, for the first 5 minutes, everyone's just doing their own stuff. Yeah, finding their lungs or going on the physio bed like George.
Yeah, I think it's getting those clear messages, having a minute to yourself just to regather and get some fluids on, and get ready to go. I think there's, in that 15 minutes, it's surprising how quickly it does go, and then you find yourself back out there.
Jeff Parling laying the law down in that group. I mean, the atmosphere was incredible. Plenty of noises, plenty of singing. David Bishop on the stream has asked, does the singing inspire you more on the pitch? How much of that atmosphere do you notice at the time?
No, you can't hear a thing going on. That's one of the challenging things. You have to kind of shout across it. And it can be quite challenging. You don't hear calls, you miss things being said. But it's unbelievable. I mean, just looking at that view, it's insane. It's a really, really unique experience.
It's probably one of the only stadiums I've played at where it's literally just a wall of noise, and it's when the roof is shut, it literally can't go anywhere.
Sure, we'll try and jump into
the commentating bit.
It's certainly good to hear from you guys. I think you've auditioned excellently on the lead comms, George. Just make sure you get the stadium right. That's all. Yeah.
And the right
Hartley
day as well.
Then looking to take the line out quickly as Bigger searches. Of course, Mike Brown, traditionally full-back, played on the left wing. He was a few times over the course of this Six Nations in particular. And no doubt England would have been very, very keen to get into Wales here because they know that Wales are chasing that 8-point lead. So they really needed from the start of the second half to get themselves back into things. But we're just seeing plenty of aerial ping pong to begin with. And of course, that is all about trying to force the opponent into being under enough pressure with their next kick that they make an error. A little bit of techers from Owen Farrell.
I think if I did that, I'd catch a ball in my foot and then roll my ankle and then have to get it strapped up.
Well, we saw
injured again.
Yeah.
Come on, relax. No, relax. Was this the time in the game? Hang on, George. I was just going to say, was this the time in the game, or a couple of years, there was just so much kicking back and forth, or was it earlier than this?
Yeah.
I think this was maybe towards the end of it.
Towards the end of it, yeah. It used to be, 2011, 12, 13, some games, you get ping pong for like 5 minutes.
It's always entertaining during those periods as well to just watch what the props do.
Yeah.
Just sort of stand still. Just vaguely run a little bit in one direction and then another. But that is always quite entertaining. Plenty of bodies on the floor here for England as Ben Youngs looks to try and survey his options just outside the Welsh 22. Plays it back, Joe Marler putting his hand up for the first carry. Stuart Lancaster was all about a positive upon a positive. And if he believed that you could have a decent kick-off, decent restart, and then win the next line out or force an error on an opponent, that would be a positive upon a positive. And he was looking at how sequences went in games. Fortunate enough to be part of a presentation to the media where he explained his strategy. And that was what he was all about. If he could force a team into a negative on a negative, then he was looking to make the most of it. Now this man, Alan Wynne-Jones, relatively unheard of at this point, wasn't he?
It's unbelievable how he's still putting in performances 7 years later. I mean the longevity of his quality is a unbelievable feat.
Earning his 70th cap for this one.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of half of what he's on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
We obviously missed that over the last minutes, but you just see the position Sam used to get in, like almost impossible to shift because he was quite a heavy guy. Like he had quite a bit of weight on him, and once he got in that position with his long, like proper strong arms of the ball, almost impossible to shift in a ruck. There's a scrum again.
Yeah, scrum going down again, and Dan Cole's just having a little contretemps with Richard Hibbard.
Is that the Tiger King playing?
Patrick Swayze was the comparison made for Richard Hibbard, wasn't it, at one stage?
Joe Exotic.
As the clearance is made. We've had another message from Twitter. Gaz Hugo has asked Jamie and George, who's the best player you've played against in the Six Nations? Have a moment to think about it. George, do you want to let us know who you found particularly challenging or who you think are some of the best people out there that you faced?
I've had a good few big encounters with Tommy Bowe over the years. Obviously played with the Ospreys, but anytime he was in an Ireland shirt, he was so difficult to play against. I played against him at club level and international level, and to me, he was one of the best players in the world, a winger, and most definitely in Europe. So for me, it was probably Tommy Bowe.
Jamie?
God, such a difficult question.
You can thank Gaz for that.
Again, through the history of the tournament, midfielders, lads like Driscoll and Gordon Darcy was a great player early in my Test career. Obviously Manu for England. I think I played against Yannick Jauzion for France a couple of times for Wales. It's difficult. I always struggled against. I say struggled. I always found it more difficult against the steppers. Against the guys with good footwork who are nippy. Size-wise, the big fellas, I didn't mind, but I always found it tougher against those guys. So, Darcy and O'Driscoll had great footwork, and they were very difficult to defend against.
Well,
probably those guys. Them as a pair.
Thank you, Gaz, for the question. Interesting to see that, well, not only is Mako Vunipola a pretty handy weapon to be bringing on, but it seemed a little bit more like it was Shepherd's Crook time for Joe Marler, who was involved in a few of those conceding. Steve Walsh just having another little glance at the big screen. Just check the hair's not out of place. So Mako Vunipola.
Those two are still sharing the England jersey 7 years later.
Well, indeed, yeah. 44 minutes on the clock. Yeah, they certainly are still doing the business. And Dan Cole, of course, with a bit of a resurgence recently. And news, of course, for Eddie Jones extending his England contract to 2023. Scrum goes down again for England. Just not able to cope at this stage. Not getting any of it right. And
big man Adam Jones can't shift him.
Just the sort of thing that keeps the Principality Stadium happy as well, isn't it? Just another big shove, another penalty. Keep the crowd with you and send the English back another 30 metres. Let's have another little look at this. Well, Mako never really got himself squarely aligned, did he?
I'll be brutally honest, I haven't got a Scooby-Doo what was happening there.
Had a question from Dylan Castle about the perfect pre-match meal for either of you boys. We'll come to that in a second as Richard Hibbard goes for a little pick and go. And then round the corner. Alan Wynne-Jones again. Happy just to take metre by metre. Mike Phillips, bigger, popping it up for big Jamie Roberts. Mako Vunipola trying to get in a position to turn that one over, and then it does come back on the England side, atoning for the penalty error. Youngs with the kick over the top. Hurrying after this is one George North. Throws it back in field.
That was the other guy,
It was
Cliffy,
Cuthbert,
but
was
I'll
it?
take
My
it.
apologies, George.
Okay, he's handsome as well.
That was good over the far side. There is George, and he's happy to tell everybody who's listening that that's gone out on the floor.
There we go. Yeah,
That's
I'm
a
happy with that.
big win, that, isn't it?
I
Big
don't know,
momentum, big kind of game-changer moments, isn't it?
Yeah, I was about to say that in those kicking battles, that's exactly what you don't want. You know, you want to play that long and on, keep it on, keep that pressure building with every kick. And
it's too big a risk there for Whitgood, isn't
really.
it? He's gone for a little bit too much, and it's what I mean in tennis it'd be an unforced error, really.
Exactly that, and again, it just puts us in a great position with the momentum, a big shift in momentum.
Well, in the line out, and then able to send first phase Jamie Roberts up.
Oh, shot.
Brilliant offloading game here now as the bomb goes through once more. Mike Phillips then. Alan Wynne-Jones was in a brilliant position to notice that he could play it quickly through the hands out to players loitering on that left side. Jamie, that hit looked like it wasn't too much fun.
Two blokes, thank you very much. I didn't want to pass to George and see him go into touch, so came off my left foot. Yeah,
classic
into a brick
Jamie.
wall.
Won't pass me the ball.
Well done.
Jamie.
Putting this on the front foot again. Sorry.
Oh, here we go with it.
Wales knocking on the door. Hibbard with another carry. Vunipola cleared out from Gethin Jenkins. Tipuric.
Wales, 14 phases in the 22, building pressure. Nick, take over.
Just trying to latch themselves on here and find a way through as the white shirts try and put up as good a wall as they can. Tom Young's just making a speed bump of himself. Tom Croft looking to be the next man out of the traps. They go straight through Jeff Parling. Joe Launchbury's tried to get himself over that. Steve Walsh is trying to look for where the ball is and what's going on. Wales come around the short side. And then Phillips is having a look down there. Tom Wood straight off his feet to try and make the hit. Drive Wales back a half metre. Phillips again.
Oh, George, finally offering himself. Great to see.
George popping in.
Just get a bit of gain line. Play around me, boys. Let's go. Go keep that pressure on. You can see here now England trying to do everything they can to disturb the contact. Jamie's probably taking a breather somewhere, so he'll be coming to shot now when we get about a metre from the line. You know, and look, we're just saying earlier, Nick, as well, when you're having your dinner, how the rules have changed from 2013 to now. You know, be able to put your foot through and kick the ball away and disturb the ball, and obviously now that would be a big no-no.
Yeah, another penalty advantage now being signalled by referee Steve Walsh. England transgressing offside.
Pass it left.
Jamie Roberts.
Told you.
4 metres out.
Have my breather.
Popped up at just the right moment.
One thing's for sure, you are going to see a Mike Phillips show and go soon. He loved to show and go.
Bigger. Davis.
Pull it right back.
Thought about just dinking it over the top, but takes it into contact. We will come back for the penalty. The advantage not coming to anything.
It's tough, those periods. You actually knacker yourself out over 20, 25 phases for 3 points. And sometimes you can see the energy Gethin is giving the lads as skipper. You know, as a defensive side, you don't mind that. You don't mind the opposition just knocking the door down, knackering themselves out and only conceding 3. So, you know, it's a tough moments in the game for us because we're only getting small rewards for our effort. But you can see...
Is it the case that they always say that a defence is tiring more because they've not got the ball, they're not attacking, but actually what you're saying is that if you're attacking that hard and putting that much energy and not getting the reward for it, that can be equally draining.
Exactly. And defensively as well, when you're on the try line, you've got 15 players in the line. You haven't got to drop anyone. And so it's easier to defend nearer your try line, you know.
So as Lee sets this kick, we can answer that question for Dylan then. Perfect pre-match meal and then perfect cheat meal, perhaps we can ask as well.
I'm religious with my pre-match. Every night before a game I have spaghetti bolognese, have done since I was 18. When my mother used to cook, I left home at 18 to go to university. She didn't cook for me after that, but spaghetti bolognese religiously, whether I'm home, whether I'm away,
Good.
Wherever, every night before a game.
George?
I'm also a spag bol kind of guy, but I'm a big believer in, you know, having a nice bar of dairy milk the night before a game, knowing you're going to burn it off in the day after in the game, you know.
So Wales now leading by 12 points to 3. 52 minutes gone. Red berets out. Scrum cap on for Lee Halfpenny, adding another few points to the tally. Now we see Tom Youngs willing to make way as Dylan Hartley enters the field.
Good friend of mine, Dylan Hartley, quality player. He was probably, to play against, he was an absolute nightmare, but to play with, he was absolute quality. Got a lot of stick for, obviously, his misdemeanours, but certainly a player you'd want next to you rather than opposite you.
Yeah, always got that feeling. Absolutely fierce competitor.
What, giving away red cards and getting banned?
You didn't hear what I said, Jamie. Pipe down. He's got hair.
He loved indiscretion. He was a top player, though. Top player, tough opponent.
Andy Farrell there, of course, who was alongside Stuart Lancaster, now the head coach at Ireland. Down for England through Youngs, not the best pass. Tuolangi had to come on and try and tidy that one up. Ashton flies in to try and lend a bit of support there as well. Ashton trying to give you a bit of a shoe.
Ashton trying to stand on me. Thank you, Christopher.
I'd do that as well if I had the chance.
Somebody else has pushed him off the ball, which was helpful. Brad Barrett then trying to get through. Barrett, who was playing in the 13 role.
I think this is very textbook Sean-esque defence at the moment. You know, not overcommitting to the ruck, just boys putting shots in, making a nuisance, getting the line speed ready enough. And you can see here that Jamie keeps coming forward, I keep coming forward outside of him, and then we go again. You know, everyone knows with Sean's defence what he wants, and we just keep going at it. You know, and you can see that England here with 53 minutes gone look a little bit lost. I think, Jamie, thoughts?
Yeah, no, you're right. You know, if you can bring line speed on the outside, it spooks teams. They look up there, they see players in their channel, they don't want to play to width in case they get knocked behind the advantage line. so it keeps things quite narrow. And we just had so much trust, didn't we? Because we were so well drilled and had been through some kind of big defensive sets together. We just knew what each one was doing, especially the relationships between midfielders and wingers. It's very important, on those wider edges. And you could just have trust in what George could have trust in what I was doing, and I would trust that George would be there outside me, and be there high. He'd be up in the passing lane.
I got it. Don't worry.
Just about returned to earth before being hit. Wales having to do control this as Mike Phillips eventually arrives. Foul it out, providing a bit of security.
Ooh, like in rugby, we're playing from deep here.
John Fox-Davies sends it downfield. Alex Good. There's Farrell running around with him.
The effort from Gethin Jenkins there. Jeez, I mean, he's doing the job of a midfielder, kind of tracking back. People talk about kind of escorting players back, just running out opposition players. Like you've got your Lucent prop doing that a minute 55 in a Test match is seriously impressive.
It does have the feel of a game that does have sort of high ball in play time. I haven't seen the stats actually to look back on those, but
it was 43 minutes ball in play time, Nick, just so you know.
Thank you. It just seems relentless.
I think at this point in, especially after the 2011 World Cup, we had such a big pre-season, and our mindset was we're always going to be one of the most hard-working teams and physical teams, and I think, especially in the Six Nations, our mindset was we're going to outwork teams, and that meant that ball in play time, so staying in those kicking battles.
Go on the horse!
Here's one of my favourite moments.
Getting away.
Face plant.
On the outside.
Go on, Kev. Wait for the face plant. Boom.
Brilliant work from Alex Cuthbert.
Unbelievable wheels.
Just shrugged off the defensive tackles as well.
Great finish from the horse.
I mean, that was a defensive try. Our effort in defence, competing at the ruck. I'm not quite sure.
Turnover ball from the ruck, yeah.
I can't remember who it was at that previous breakdown. He just kind of hustled, made sure the ball went loose. I think it was Andrew Coombs actually off the bench in that previous breakdown. Yeah, ball went loose and we just executed hands. And that guy had serious wheels there, Alex Cuthbert. Wow, like he came on the scene in 2012 as a student. Here we are. We see it at this ruck. Who is that?
Cannonball.
Is it Ken? Oh, there we are. It's Ken. Ken Owens. Off the bench, just great effort at the ruck. Ball goes free. Filsey, square. Look at that for wheels.
Quality centre that can pass the ball both ways. Brilliant to play with. And then Cuthie takes his try very well.
So quick. Well, he came on the scene at 2012. He was still in uni.
Boom.
Mike Phillips doing a brilliant job of holding Mike Brown in as well, wasn't he? Just keep him interested on that inside channel before he then launches the ball out.
Base point. Boom.
Offers to add the extras. But if you're enjoying this match, then and if you're in a position to do so, do consider donating to the Aneurin Bevan Health Charity, the COVID-19 fund. The links are alongside the streams across our platforms, and it would be a contribution that is very much welcome directly to a COVID-19 hotspot in Wales. So that is our connection to the motherland. As far as any of our Welsh viewers are concerned, and it would be lovely if you've got the time to just click on one of those and drop whatever you can afford in there during these tough times. We are relying so heavily on our key workers, on our healthcare workers, who are also challenged enormously and under stress during this time. So if you can drop some funds in there, that would be hugely appreciated. Great to be getting the insight of two British and Irish Lions, two Welsh international stalwarts in George North and Jamie Roberts, who are with us. Apologies for a few of the technical gremlins over the course of the first half, but hopefully we have settled down a little bit now as I look back at this 2013 Six Nations Championship decider approaches the hour mark, and Wales now with a 17-3 lead, knowing that if they got a win by 8 points, it would be their championship. And England's shot at a Grand Slam is now slipping through the fingers, and perhaps a little bit of overexcitement, a little bit of desperation beginning to show in some of their play. And boys, as competitors, Are you able to recognise that in an opposition when you can start to see perhaps the fact that England really need to go for it now? Is there a slight way that, I don't know, you might wind players up, you might just do extra little things to put them off their stride?
Well, you can see the lift in their intensity, can't you, after conceding that try? They know they have to score two tries to win this game, probably. They go for posts here. I think they miss again. Probably the wrong decision. If they reflect on this game, probably should have gone for corner here. But yeah, I guess when you have that much trust in your defensive line, whatever any opposition throws at you, you just keep coming off the line. You keep working hard. You keep regenerating into the line. That's a yellow card. That's a yellow card nowadays, isn't it? Just watching that tackle again.
I think he might get away
with it.
I think a big pin on that, big point on that. Sorry, Nick, is when you see teams trying up their intensity like England did just then, and like little errors creep in, like there's little handling errors, ball goes down. They look a bit flustered, they go backwards in attack, not going forward. It's a real big lift, mentally for our defence, knowing that we're staying in structure, staying in system, we're pushing them back with every single play. And I think from our point of view, certainly from a mindset point of view, you think, well, they've just gone up a gear, but then we've just matched it and gone some more, and for them to do, as Jamie said, to pick the penalty, I think was probably the wrong choice at the time, and momentum straight back with
It's a horrible place to be when you're this amount of points down and you're trying to attack, and anything you're throwing at the opposition, they're just as a brick wall. It's a horrible place to be. Our defence back then was extremely good. We didn't concede too many tries or too many points. I think in this whole tournament we might have conceded one try. Or didn't we? Did we not concede a try this tournament? I can't remember. It might be in 2012. I can't remember.
Well, considering we lost
the
first game, I think we would have conceded a try then. Yeah, but
we didn't concede many.
Well, certainly a testament to the capability of the Welsh side, and the likes of Sean Edwards, of course, who are held in such high regard. A couple more questions coming in from people, which we will get to in just a moment. As Steve Walsh calls maul there, players desperate to try and get the ball to ground so that they can continue with the attack, and that's why you saw England flooding that ruck. But because they couldn't get the ball out, it wasn't apparent. Steve Walsh says that the Welsh defensive effort was suitable enough for them to get control of the next scrum. So a chance to slip a question in then from Martin Priest, and you talked about how the safety of players has changed those tackle laws, and he asked, lads, how much do you feel the game has changed since 2013, and how hard has it been to adapt to the new rules? I guess any changing rules. George?
I think the rules are obviously put in place for the safety benefits, and I think that's the way the game has to go and has gone for the greater good as it is. I think adapting with rules, I think at the end of the day we're professionals, so that's our job to know the rules and get on with them, and I think we do enough training from Monday to Friday, so come Saturday, I don't think it's a big issue. Obviously there's a few ones that take a bit of time to reel home in and learn the rules as such, and learn the ways to adapt to that in the best possible way, if that makes sense, without saying find the creep in the system. But yeah, certainly I don't think it's not a massive chore to change, but for me the rules are certainly helping the game be a lot safer.
17 points to 3 then. Wales with possession again, and able to just keep pushing England back towards their own try line. With a little bit more of a light-hearted one. Emma James on Instagram has asked, which one of your Wales teammates has the best nickname? Keep it clean, but what's out there?
Thinking of the starting team from this, we have Patrick Swayze, Hibbard at hooker. Probably the best.
that wasn't Patrick anybody, that was Patrick
exactly.
Swayze.
Gorgeous George.
That was not a self-given one.
The horse. I like the horse. Cuffy was the horse. Because he was quick and he had a face like a horse.
Mike Phillips, does he have any nickname?
Yeah, Spike. He's got an alter ego after a few drinks. Yeah, so he's called Spike Phillips.
Always love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Wales building again here. Oh, Jonathan Davies,
footwork.
Brilliant bit of footwork from him. Big man to stop, and the dancing feet as well. Courtney Lawes trying to get in there and cause a problem and slow that
George
down.
pick and go. Oh.
Don't do it, George. Don't do it, George. Don't do it, George.
George North trying to go. Alex Good trying to wrestle him into touch. He's done well there to stay in.
Great strength to stray in.
Away for Ken Owens. Warburton in there. Of course, Warburton had been captain in that 2011 Rugby World Cup and was due to captain the Lions tour in 2013, which he went on to do. But in this one, Gethin Jenkins, the captain, Ryan Jones, who was unavailable for this one.
Boom!
George North, huge
I'll
double
rescue
hit.
it for you, mate. Oh, yeah, you got smashed there, didn't you? Body on the line, gorgeous. Body on the line. Great carrying.
I'm surprised you're playing, James, because you diagnosed yourself injured half the time.
You stayed down a little bit there, haven't you, George?
It's a big hit. I'm just having a breather, don't worry.
Oh, DG.
There we go, he's back up now. Bigger to add
Shin.
another 3 with a drop goal. It is just turning the screw on England now. And the Welsh fans are beginning to celebrate
Yeah,
what
just to
could
watch
be
that
and what we know becomes a back-to-back championship. Grand Slam 2012 and the Six Nations Championship of 2013 is homing into view.
Yeah, big moment that. 3 scores.
3 unanswered scores as well.
Danny Kerr coming onto the field with
Here
hair.
he is, DC.
Paul Elias, probably Elias, says, do both sides actually socialise after the games now? There's obviously a match function that has to take place. Do you get the chance to actually socialise and have a beer together as many in an amateur clubhouse would?
Can I answer that question about 1 minute's time?
Go on, Wobbs!
Oh,
Go on, Wobbs!
Break.
Classic Warby, that is.
It's a rugby league tackle from Owen Farrell as well, standing him up.
Just
And
it.
now,
Here we go.
this is the build for Cuthbert again. Brilliant. Brilliant join from Roberts. Little dummy. Brilliant from Tipuric. And the finish from Cuthbert.
Smashed it, horse.
That was the moment I knew we'd won.
Atmosphere. Incredible. Well, it must have been. Brilliant tip on, Jamie, or quick hands, basically, to make that work.
It was awesome. I just remember the sound from the crowd after that try. It was unbelievable. You know, the smile on Alex's face. The work the lads have put in. And it wasn't pretty. A lot of this game wasn't pretty, you know.
Your view as you joined that line must have been, if I can play the right role here, I'm setting the boys away for a score, right?
Yeah, but I guess Manu kind of blitzed, didn't he? He flew out the line. And kind of sold himself. You know what I mean? He should have kind of bitten in. He could have worked out, but you know, you don't need a player of Justin Tipuric's quality to have a second go at that. Unbelievable skill from him, the show and go, then the offload. Cuffy thinks it's Christmas.
Can't believe it. Brace of tries against England to take Wales towards the championship title. Absolutely brilliant.
I think it's
Sammy Lewis enjoying watching this from their living room in Abergavenny.
It's at this moment now, I am stood and I'm organising a night out with Cuffy. So at this kick-off, he turns to me because I'm stood next to him here, and I was like, mate, it's going to be a big night tonight, boy. And we were kind of debating over where we're going to go.
Well, Sammy Lewis asks, enjoying watching from the living room in Abergavenny, how did you celebrate the win that night?
Oh, God, it was a big night out in Cardiff. I used to love that. I think it was a massively important part of being an international rugby player in Wales. You know, going out and enjoying victories like this with your teammates, out meeting fans in town, having a few drinks, having a good time. I think and long may that continue. I remember.
Would you be in areas where you'd be accessible? Would you be in VIP areas so that you're all on your own? How would that
probably a bit of both.
Jamie would be in VIP on his own. The rest of the boys would be out in the mixer with everyone, you know.
A bit of both. Like, you know, sometimes we'd have little areas, but the lads would want to go and mingle, especially the single lads, you know. So It was just brilliant times. I remember we were banned for going out for about 2 years after Powley drove a golf buggy down the M4.
That was after this one, wasn't it?
No, that was 2010. That was 2010, yeah, that was Scotland.
I was giving a bum steer on that.
Stay in, Roberts. Great work.
I will say at this point, it's one of, I reckon, about 70 minutes. To me, it felt like it's probably one of the only international test matches I've been able to actually enjoy the last 10 minutes and fully take in what's happening, the atmosphere, the way the boys are playing, all these moments, that sort of moment, and it was just an incredible atmosphere at this point.
That's good fun. Seeing Mike Brown being hit in the face with a ball. Brilliant. He's an angry man, isn't he?
I had another message through from Twitter. It says, once read an interview with, I'm not quite sure the name on this one, but once read an interview with Shane Williams, who said Adam Jones was the fittest player in the Welsh team. Weight to work ratio that he got through. Do you boys agree in that sense?
Oh, he was an unbelievable player, Bomb. Weight to work ratio, yeah, well put from Shane there, but like, I've never really appreciated this. I'm sure George would neither as a back. Forwards who have to push in a scrum or push in a maul and are then expected to hit the first ruck, hit the next ruck, which is on the far 15 or far 5 metre line, and then get into shape after having to push for 10 seconds, 5, 10, 15 seconds. It's a different sort of fitness and something us backs don't appreciate a lot of the time. And Adam Jones was a prime example of that. He's a guy in the front row who would put everything into push and scrum. Remember, the ball goes. You can't just stop there. You know, the work rate of those boys. Very special player.
It takes a certain man to really enjoy playing front row at this level, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't see that.
Making the change. Andrew Coombs coming on, and we've also seen that that shrinking violet James Haskell has also come onto the field for England, earning his 50th cap at this point. You would not really want to be coming off the bench as an Englishman, 24 points down at the Principality Stadium whilst trying to win a Grand Slam.
Special game for Hask.
Jamie, I bet you 3 toilet roll now that he gets this kick.
Lovely. I love this little routine Biggs used to have. I think he changed it for the World Cup. He used to kind of flick his head, didn't he? It's ugly. That's an ugly kick.
That was the big arena, a little bit slower.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too many dance moves in it that time. 30 points to 3. Wales giving England an absolute spanking. There's no denying it. Interesting question come through from Oscar Turner, who has posed it forwards from this game a few months. Of course, this was March the 16th, 2013, and then in the June-July it was, Lions tour time to Australia. As we just watch England trying to build, trying to find a way through or around Wales. Chris Ashton meets George North.
Hello.
Toby Flood, little dummy from Toby Flood, must have thought he was going to twist his way over the line, but the defence from Wales just as good as the attack needed to be at times.
Incredible from Harpers there, doing his role, exactly on ball. You know, that Sean Edwards, I imagine, would be absolutely beaming with happiness with that one, because that is exactly what our defensive structure is, you know, and Harpers with a huge hit there.
Danny Kerr will take the quick tap. Who's it going to? Brad Barrett. Mako Vunipola was offering himself just a little closer, but then it's Haskell, the drive back. Wales are not going to concede here. Kerr thinks about the little chip over. He's overcooked it. Adrenaline flying.
Good idea.
It's just not going to work out, is it? So that question from Oscar, what was it like going on the Lions tour with the English lads after such an emotional game?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think your first conversation with him was a bit of a sarcastic piss take, isn't it? And then you just get on with it. But I've been on the receiving end of those as well. You know, I spoke about losing to Ireland in 2009, and then having to go on a Lions tour with the Ireland lads a few months later was pretty brutal as well. So
It's just a first status play, is it? Just get that dig
exactly.
in nice
I get the awkwardness out of the way, you know.
Yeah, call it and move on.
I was the same. I moved to Quins after the World Cup in 2015. Obviously, Robbo was skipper for England. We beat England at Twickenham as well, and yeah, that was just funny. I think I turned up at the club, brought the game up. It's got out of the way with, you know. It's awkward otherwise, isn't it?
That's it. Kerr. Oh, it just wouldn't find the hands of Haskell. It's another scrum for Wales, and England will just watch the clock tick away. Anybody who is just joining us, we hope you're enjoying an opportunity to hear from two of our Welshmen, our British and Irish Lions, who are on board with us, looking back at this classic Six Nations match from 2013 as Wales, well, as you can see, looking at the scoreboard, and from the fans who are waving the flags in the stands, that, well, the result is pretty much concluded. But if you are of Welsh blood, you are going to really enjoy watching the conclusion of this. And if you are enjoying it, well, please do consider helping the National Health Service effort down in Wales. Consider donating to the Aneurin Bevan Health Charities COVID-19 Fund. The links are alongside the stream on the various platforms, which will be a contribution directly to a COVID-19 hotspot in Wales. We would love to know that our efforts this evening have raised a few quid for those people who really need it. Jamie Roberts, of course, our doctor who's with us, who's also putting his efforts in for the National Health Service.
Can I just apologise? Can I just apologise for Nick's Welsh there? Obviously, he's an Englishman. Let's teach you proper Welsh. Aneurin Bevan, not Aneurin. Aneurin, yes.
Sorry.
Lovely. Aneurin.
And if we're getting into it as well, it's Tipperick, it's not Tipperick. He's not posh, though.
I'm not posh either, mate. There he is, Steve Walsh, looking at the screen again.
Yeah.
Cracking Lego hair.
You just love it as a back, don't you? Scrums get reset, you can take it all in. Just enjoy the moment as the forwards reset, ready to put the push in again, and you can just chill.
Having received a message from Chris Robshaw earlier, he sort of said, "Oh, it would be interesting while I'm jumping on with Jamie and with George as to whether you could just, drop me a line or two back." And I got a voice memo, and it almost felt like he went back there and relived it, and it still sounded painful. He mentioned the fact that this England team took a fair amount of stick after this result, which I think probably still causes a bit of pain. They certainly were going down to Cardiff to do their best, take the victories that they'd had through the course of this 2013 Six Nations, and hopefully aim to conclude things positively. But this Welsh side, having started slowly with that loss to Ireland by 22 points to 30. One stage in that game they were down by 30 points to 3, and Wales managed to come back just to lose by 8 points in the end. There's almost something in the fact that they ended up winning by a 30 points to 3 result at the end to show how much they'd got their game together, how much a Wales side will always lift its game to play an England side at the Principality Stadium. It's another penalty. England cannot buy anything at the minute.
I find myself smiling from ear to ear, just remembering on the moments, like hearing every whistle, knowing that there's less than 5 minutes to go, knowing what we had done at that point, and without a real big hiccup, we were going to win this game with the 8 points we needed. It was such an amazing game, to be there and to be part of, and yeah, I can't stop smiling even though I know what happened. I just enjoy these moments.
Oh, good memories, obviously. think many people thought before this game as well, going into that Lions tour in 2013, that there'd be a lot of white shirts, but we saw such a strong Welsh contingent during that tour as well. This game no doubt playing a huge part in that.
I was going to say everyone looks really young in 2013, but Ken looks exactly the same. Just looking at him then.
I was wondering whether, even only in that 7 years, whether players have got even bigger.
I wouldn't know. Actually, maybe a little bit bigger, but I just think the level of conditioning now is it's taken a massive leap. You know, even looking from this game now, it's only been a real short stint compared to obviously longer than that. But I just remember the conditioning we were doing in 2013 leading into this campaign compared to what we do now into the most recent Six Nations is nothing alike. And in 2013, I remember thinking, oh my God, how are we going to cope? There's no way we can do this. There's no way I can do any more than this. This is all I've got. And then in 2020 now, you know, we're doing twice as much work in the same amount of time. And so I would say a little bit bigger, but just the conditioning and the intensity we train at now is just worlds apart.
Yeah, understood.
Wales
throwing
entering the
out.
22. I'm taking your job, Nick.
There you
Pick
go.
and go.
You're
We're
picking
taking the ball, counting down the clock.
Excellent, George. There's a future in it for you. And I wonder, Jamie, I've had a message through on Twitter from Helen Ross, who says that her and her boyfriend Cameron Ball are both doctors, currently self-isolating with symptoms. It would make their day if you guys could give them a shout out. So that's Helen and Cameron.
Cameron, obviously you guys are at home. Hopefully it's just for a short stint. Once you have symptoms and you can overcome that and get back to doing what you do best and saving the people of this country. You know, before this game finishes, just you know, everyone who's working in the NHS on the front line. Everyone has a massive role to play, and it's not just doctors, nurses. It's porters, it's chefs, it's staff behind the scenes as well, and they're all doing unbelievable roles. So, you know, I wish you two the very best. Hopefully you overcome your symptoms quickly and you can get back out there, because I'm sure you're itching to.
Top man. We've also had Matt Lacey, who wants to shout out to a mate of his, a junior doctor at the Princess of Wales Hospital, who's suffering with COVID-19 at the moment. Thanking Adam Lee Jones for all that he and everyone at the Princess of Wales have done at this time, and to get well soon. As we see the Wales fans on their feet in this look back. Absolutely.
I just like to echo what Jamie said. I think it's incredible, obviously, the frontline workers across all the country, and just want to say a massive thank you from everyone, you know, and keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully we can fix this and get it sorted sooner rather than later, guys.
And of course you can donate to the fund which will be helping in Wales. Those links around the live streams where you're watching. It would be lovely to know that we are raising some decent funds to help those who are treating all of our friends and family who are finding things tough at this time, and those people obviously who are needing urgent medical care. Anyone fancies a pub quiz as well? Nick's pub quiz is taking place tomorrow night, doing that for NHS fundraisers. You can join me for that. Follow my social media at Nick Heath Sport, and we'll be raising a few funds as well. At 7 o'clock tomorrow, we'll finish in time for 8 o'clock on the clap for our carers. So plenty of stuff going on. As George North, oh, that's lovely. It was as if he planned it.
Oh, this is why I run to. I could hear all 74,104 people in that stadium screaming at me, and I panicked. I didn't know what the hell to do.
You knew what they wanted you to do.
Yeah, not that.
Jeff Parling. Never see a second row in that much space. Glorious sight. It's only going to be consolation if England can get through, but the clock already read. Danny Kerr trying to find a chink in the Welsh armour. Tackled by Jonathan Davis. Billy Twelvetree's involved there. Piltries, who scored on his debut against Scotland in the Championship, but everybody stops. Everybody knows what it means. Jamie Roberts with his arm around Dan Biggar.
Woo.
And that is that. Boys, your memories of this particular moment, George?
I just think that's why you play. That's why you play sport, and that's why you put yourself, in the holes we do each day to be better each day, to play in these games, and give the opportunity to have these fixtures. And I just remember being incredibly happy, hearing that the home crowd going crazy, like this lady here, and it just really enjoying, trying to take in every moment, trying to savor it all, because these moments don't come around that often.
Yeah, they don't come around often, and I guess, games of this magnitude, they are unbelievable when you win them, and they're memories for life. When you lose them, which George and I have both done, and a lot of these players on this field, you see now, would have done, and that day it was the English, they stay with you for a long time, and they motivate you as well. We've both lost big games that go on to motivate your future careers or your future endeavours. But when you win games like this, when you work hard, and yes, you get a bit of the rub of the green, and things go your way, they're just amazing memories. And I love kind of revisiting those. And tonight has been great. I don't think I ever watched this game back, and so to watch it back in its entirety has been pretty special.
Well, it's been an absolute treat to have you guys with us, and for all of you who've tuned in, we're very grateful for your comments, your questions, and all of your interactions with us. Again, if we've distracted you for a couple of hours from obviously these slightly curious days, then and if you're inclined and can afford to drop a few quid into the pot, then we'd be super grateful, because those links are around the streams for you to give generously and raise funds for treating COVID-19 in Wales. We would be incredibly grateful. Both of the boys will notice that I'm steering away from actually saying the name of the charity, because I'm probably going to get it wrong. Anaya and Bevan, is
nice.
that better? There we go. So
Almost 6 out of 10.
Doing my best here. Gents, thank you very much indeed. Just before we go then, how are you both coping with lockdown? Jamie, we can hear you munching away.
I've been sponsored by Sports Mixture for the past hour and a half, if anyone's wondering. Lockdown's okay, as I said earlier in the show, it's a privilege here to be able to go outside and exercise. If I was still in South Africa, I wouldn't be able to do that, so I'm trying to stay fit as a professional athlete, going at the park, running. I've got a lot of resistance bands, so dealing with that and actually enjoying cooking for myself for once. I like to eat out, so having to cook for myself every night is a hell of a challenge, but I'm enjoying it.
And George, we understand that you're awaiting the pitter-patter of tiny feet.
Becky's now 38 weeks pregnant, so any time. So we've actually been in lockdown a bit longer, just because obviously the government advised pregnant women were at high risk as well. So so we've just been doing what we can. The house is spotless. I'm still training in and around the house, doing some running. So I got some watt bike and some weights here.
And telling us some key dad gags as well.
Yeah, telling some key dad jokes just to try and maybe lighten the mood a bit. It's just trying to stay focused on what's important. So staying safe, keeping the family safe, and and just doing what I can and what we all can for the bigger picture here.
Well, listen, both of you, it's been absolutely fantastic to get your insight and your memories and your good humour across the last couple of hours in watching that game. I wish you both staying safe and your families, and best of luck with the new arrival, George. And for those of you watching, do continue to donate if you can. And who knows, if you've enjoyed this little look back at a triumphant moment for Wales, well, maybe the powers that be at the Six Nations might have a little look through the archives and pick some others out for other nations as we go through the next few weeks. But listen, from all of us here, from George and from Jamie, it's a very good evening, and thank you very much for being with us here with the Six Nations, reliving that 2013 win as Wales were the champions back-to-back for the first time since the 70s. All the best and good night.